We have a fifth line day. Hello, thank you for joining me as we carry on exploring Gate 9, the Gate of Detail. And we are looking at the fifth line, which is called Faith, which is a funny name for a logical gate, really. Ra said that he found this line to be very perverse, this fifth line. It is one of the most perverse lines in the whole I Ching. We know that the fifth line is a line of universalization, and we know that the fifth line is in resonance to the second line, except that rather than projecting outwards, which the second line does, it's being projected onto. This line called faith, faith has nothing to do with the logic process. This is a projection from the outside onto people who obviously have a concentrative skill. Is that a word? Concentrative. They have the skill to concentrate. Let's go with concentrative. The projection from the outside is we have faith in them because they're concentrating. We have faith that the doctors will find a cure for whatever it is because they're concentrating on the healing power of nuts and sultanas. But the fact that they're concentrating, of course, doesn't mean they're going to figure anything out. It's like the students with the second line. It doesn't mean they're learning anything just because they're concentrating. Nonetheless, it brings an element of the belief system into the logical process. The lifetime learning says the trust that detailed adherence will lead to fulfillment. If you really concentrate, if we all pull together, children, you will really get it. That's what this is saying. Well, maybe we will. This is, after all, a projection that's coming in from the outside. The people who get that projection it puts people under so much pressure. Our fifth lines can be under enormous pressure from the projections that come in. Well, it's really tough, actually, having to really know if you can fulfill that or not. In the logic process, you establish the details, and in that moment, you have the generative capacity to put that detail as a potential into work. And because that detail is there is the assumption, because logic does make assumptions, that everything will operate according to the rules. Everything's going to work according to the pattern, and the structure that has been indicated by the detail. And their faith, their trust is that some mutative individual isn't going to come along and ruin the whole thing. That's what this faith really is all about. In the exaltation, we have loyalty to the letter of the lure. Sometimes I just have to channel my inner Pink Panther, my Inspector Clouseau. Loyalty to the letter of the law. The focus to know the power to focus and to bring value to concentration. Loyalty to the letter of the law goes back to what we discussed in the nature of all fifth lines and the general and the role of the general. And that is that it cannot be a lawbreaker. Oh, it can stand against the law, but it cannot be the breaker of the law. And it has to follow the law of its own nature, which means that the five, when it commits itself to bringing a practical solution in a time of crisis, when that crisis is over, it must let go. This is its personal law. And it is because of these inbuilt laws that the general is reliable. The general doesn't frighten us, because a component of our projection on the general is that it will let go of power and not continue to control us and benefit from doing that. The power to focus and bring value to concentration. The detail is important when it's necessary. Have you ever considered how much detail is available in the world? And so much of that available detail is trivia. And that can make it very hard to access the useful detail that you actually do need from time to time. You have to wade through so much dross. If you can even find what you're looking for, it's a miracle. The whole thing is pretty frustrating. In the detriment, like the mystery of God, doubt engendered through the perceived illogic of a process, where the lack of power to concentrate leads to doubt. How can I have faith that I will find the solution when all I know how to do is concentrate? There's something bizarre in all these people putting their faith and trust in me. Just because I can stare at something all day doesn't mean I'll be able to come up with a viable solution. This is what our what our fifth line in the detriment is saying. It's not a detrimental fifth line. And in saying this, it brings the energy of doubt. Is that all I have to do? Just concentrate? And of course it isn't. Ra tells us that this is the deepest psychological dilemma for the understanding, logical, collective being, that nothing that they can understand is permanent. It seems to us that the fact that 1 and 1 equals 2 is going to be eternal. And yet understanding is always temporary, because there is always the possibility of mutation. Deep within the psyche of the understanding circuit is this mystery. I've got the detail, however, there is still a doubt in me. And this, of course, is the force that brings about the repetition of experimentation, testing it over and over to constantly maintain vigilance. We must constantly maintain understanding vigilance. That's why we have this endless process of testing all of our logic systems over and over again. We're just waiting for the crack to show up, waiting for the mutation that will rip the fabric of all of that understanding away. The mystery of God, so to speak. I've got it. I've got it. I've got the answer, but I'm still so full of doubt. I have the answer, but I'm still checking for the loopholes. I'm still looking for that concretized absolute. And remember that the beginning of this circuit from the top down, if we look at the head center, is gate 63. That is the gate of doubt. This is the pressure that is coming in, the mental pressure. And we're just seeing an echo of it down here in the gate 9. So the grounding is from gate 16, of course, and it's the 5th line, and it's the wonderfully named Grinch, which is a reference to Dr. Seuss, I think Ra said. It's absolutely essential that the 5th line only gets involved in times of need or crisis, and only gets involved when it can provide practical solutions. It is this practicality of the 5th line that allows the 5th line to stay exalted. The moment that the 5th line is not practical, then the projection from others about them being wonderful and able to solve problems and being so focused on the details, all of that's going to fall apart. Again, I see the grounding here as being kind of warning flag. It's, hey, hold on, this is what can happen if you don't fulfill the projection. This is what will happen if you're not practical, so just be careful, okay? And it can be a bit grinchy to come out like that. The moon went into gate 5 at 9:51, and the sacral gate of fixed rhythms, giving us a flavor of the next sun's transit. It moves into gate 26 next, the moon, not the sun. The moon moves into gate 26 at 20:36. This is the heart center gate of the egoist, the taming power of the great, pointing down to the 44 in the splenic center. The 26 is the gate of the salesperson, and they only really have one goal. They want to work less and receive more for their output. The ego loves its work-rest balance. It needs that ratio to be heavily weighted on the rest side of the scales. And then the next moon gate is in the Ajna, and it's gate 11. This is the collective abstract circuitry, and the moon transits into this position at 7:16 tomorrow morning. This is the gate of ideas, the gate of peace. Sense has been made out of the confusion, and the experience can now be turned into an idea. And ideas are great. They don't have to be based in fact or logic. No, they can be mad and crazy, and you can have lots of ideas all at the same time because that's how they work, and you can share them, and who knows what will come of them. Very different energy from the logic, which is like, okay, I have my opinion and it is based in fact, and this is how it is. Ideas are like, yay, party, or something like that. Thank you very much for being here with me in this fifth line. We're at the top of the hexagram tomorrow in the sixth line, so I look forward to seeing you then. And until then, go gently, love yourself. As always, focus on that detail. Deep down, where is it? Talking of detail, my my keyboard, for some reason, all the letters have started coming off. So mostly I've just got a lot of black keys sitting in front of me. It's like, I can't remember what letter that is anymore. Okay, I think it's that one. I need a practical solution person, Bear, to come and help me with my keyboard. Take care. See you soon.